Welcome to Mickey Study Circle channel. In this video, we shall see how to do the isometric projections of the combination of the solids using the Solid Edge software. Moving on to the problem statement, we have a regular pentagonal prism of base edge 30 mm and axis length 60 mm, which is mounted centrally over a cylindrical block whose diameter is 80 mm and the thickness is 25 mm. So now let us see how to do the drafting of this problem statement. So before we jump into the problem statement, let us understand what are the two types of solids that we have got. So one is the pentagonal prism, and the dimensions are it is having the base edge of 30 mm and the axis length of 60 mm. And also the next object is the cylinder whose diameter is 80 mm and the thickness is 25 mm. And both the solids are having the common axis line. So with this data, let us just move towards the drafting of the orthographic projection of the combination of the solids first. So let us begin by selecting a line of thickness 0.18 mm, draw the XY line, and then let us select a line of length thickness 0.50 mm, and then move ahead towards constructing the pentagon. So the top view of the pentagonal prism is nothing but a pentagon itself. So let me just construct the top view of the pentagon. 30 mm is the edge length and the angles are 72 into 2 followed by 30 and 72 into 3, and then the final edge is 30 mm and minus 72 degrees. So here we do not have to worry about the positioning of the pentagon, whether it is resting on one of its corners or edges, whatever it is, because it is not told in any of the words in the problem statement. So let us just ensure that it is a pentagon, a regular pentagon. So that is the only key point here. And next thing is it is centrally placed on the axis of the cylinder. That means the axis of the pentagonal prism and that of the cylinder block are collinear. So with this data, now we shall draw the top view of the cylinder, and the axis of the pentagon and the cylinder must coincide. So the problem here is if you draw the circle first, from the center point of the circle, matching the axis of the pentagon becomes difficult. So the best way is first draw the pentagon, mark the center of the pentagon, and from that center of the pentagon, draw the circle of diameter 80 mm. So now let us just select the pentagon and move it to a comfortable position. Let us move towards drawing the diagonals so that we get the center point of the pentagon. So let me select the midpoint option from the IntelliSketch. So I'll just move on to the corner. From the corner, I will select the midpoint of the opposite edge. So before I do that, let me change the thickness to 0.13. So this is the first perpendicular bisector, the second perpendicular bisector, and the next perpendicular bisector is this. So the point of intersection is where is the point of axis lies. So it is a prism, so we are not going to draw any triangle faces. So this is the axis of the pentagonal prism, and this axis is also common for the cylinder. So let me just go to the circle option. So the circle is also the top view of the cylinder. So let me just ensure that I'm going to draw the circle. So to avoid the confusions, just keep the midpoint off. So now you can get the point of intersection properly. So from the same center, draw the circle of diameter 80 mm. So now you can just see that the top view is consisting of a pentagonal prism placed centrally over a cylinder slab. So now let us proceed towards constructing the front view. Let me select a line of length 0.13, sorry, thickness 0.13, and draw the projections. So let me draw the vertical projection lines and intersect that with the XY line. So this is the axis. Let us just extend the xy line itself. So now let me draw the outer edges of the cylindrical slab. So the cylinder is having a height of 25 mm. So let me draw a line of length 25 mm, which marks the outer edges of the cylinder. So the front view is nothing but a rectangle of 25 cross 80, and this completes the front view of the cylindrical block. So on this cylindrical block, I need to have the pentagonal prism. So now let me just take this references and draw the height of 60 mm, a line of height 60 mm, and then complete the views of the pentagonal prism. So you can just see that I'm taking the correlations. So these four rectangular faces, will be seen. Okay, so now let me just select the line option, 0.13, showing the projection lines. So the front and the top views of the combination of the solids is done. So now let me just show the height of the pentagonal prism, that is 60, and the thickness of the cylindrical slab, which is 25. The diameter is 80 mm, and the pentagon measures 30 mm. So now you can just see that the orthographic views of the combination of the solids is done. So I need to show the axis line. So let me select the line option, go to the style, select the thickness is 0.13, and the line type is chain line. So this is the axis of the combination of the solids. So you can just see that they're collinear. Okay, so they're coaxial. So now let me move towards the isometric construction. So let me select the line option again. Thickness is 0.13, continuous line. Draw the base reference line. So from any arbitrary point, let me start drawing the square of 80 mm, because to construct the circle in the isometric scale, the procedure will be adopting the 4-point center method, for which we need to enclose the circle in the square of that dimension equivalent to its diameter. So the diameter is 80, the reference angle is 30, the other edge also measures 80, the angle is 150, followed by 80 again, the angle being minus 150. So this is 80 and minus 30. So this is the procedure. Let me join the diagonals of the square. Let me get back to the midpoint through IntelliSketch. So from this corner, I'll join the midpoint of the two opposite edges. Repeat the procedure for the other corner point and the other two edges as well. So now we have got the four center points. So this is C1, C2, C3, and C4. So now time for us to draw the ellipse, that is the isometric representation of the circle. So for time being, I'll just select the thickness as 0.13 itself. So let me pick up the center one. This is the arc length. So I'll sweep an arc. Similarly, this is the center 2. I'll sweep an arc. Center 3, radii of the arc. So sweep an arc. Center 4, this is the arc radii. So let us just sweep an arc. So the base circle of the cylinder is completed. So the circle appears as an ellipse in the isometric view. So this part is over. Now let me just draw the thickness which is equivalent to 25. So just remember that we are doing everything in the true scale. Later on, we'll just reduce the scale. The edge length is 80, angle is 30, 80 mm minus 30, join the edges. So you can just check, see here, this is the thickness which is equal to 25, and this is the edge of the square that we have drawn to draw the isocircle. So this is 80, this is 25. So we'll just move ahead and draw the top circle of the cylinder, joining the diagonals. So from the corner, join the midpoint of the opposite edges. Similarly from this corner. So now let us draw the circle using the 4-point center method. So this is the center one. Sweep an arc. Similarly, center 2. Sweep an arc. Point of intersection is your center 3. Sweep an arc. Point of intersection, center 4. Sweep an arc. So just draw a line which is tangent to the top and the bottom circle, representing the side face of the cylinder. So now whichever is visible to the observer, let us just darken that. So anyways, the bottom circle, this arc is visible. So since you can just see that this is a continuous arc, let me use the split option here. So let me select this entire arc first and split the arc at this point. So there's a split command beneath the extend to next. Select the arc and just ensure that it is a separate entity now. So select this arc and split it at this point. So now let me select these pieces and make the thickness as 0.50. So all this is available within the line options. So the moment you select the arc, you get all these accessories. So next, the edges are also 0.50. Use the control key on the keyboard to do the multiple selections. And for time being, even this part of the ellipse is also visible. So let me just consider that. Select the split option again. Select this entire arc. Split it here. Similarly, select this arc and split it here. So just check if it is a separate entity now. Yes, they are. So let me just get back. Select. Use the control key for multiple selections and change the thickness to 0.50. So now this part of the cylindrical slab is ready. So now we need to construct the pentagon on top of this circle. So that will be the base of the pentagonal prism. So the procedure we'll see. Select the line option. The first procedure is to enclose the polygon within the rectangle. So let me just select a line of different color for the construction. So let me select the blue color. I'll just enclose this entire pentagon within a rectangle. So you can just see that the entire pentagon is enclosed in a rectangle with all its corners touching the or making a point on the edges of the rectangle. Correct? So now I need to construct this rectangle on this geometry here and then mark the points by measuring the distance using the distance between. So let me just keep the midpoint of. So I do know that since it is concentric, that is the axis of the cylinder and the pentagonal prism lie on the same line, I need to consider the same point as the center for drawing this particular rectangle. So let me use the distance and measure the dimensions of this rectangle. So the longer edge measures 45.54 mm. So in your scale, you will not be getting the other digits. So it will be approximately 4.8 or 4.9. So that is how you consider. So in the ISO scale, approximately 5 boxes, a little less than 5 boxes. Correct. Next, let us measure the shorter edge. It is 46.17. So in the scale, maybe around 4.7 centimeters will be getting. So a little more than 4.5 boxes in the ISO scale. Hope the procedure is clear. Okay, so now let us move towards constructing the rectangle on this square plane. So this is the point of intersection because the axis is a common point. So here I'll consider 46.17 divided by 2. The angle is minus 30, and complete the other part. 46.17 by 2. The angle is 30. The longer edge at an angle of 150, that is 48.54. Next, the shorter edge, 46.17, angle is minus 150. So from the end point, 48.54, angle is minus 30, and complete this. So let me just delete this construction line. So the rectangle is ready. So now I need to mark these points. Okay. So for better understanding, let me just annotate the corners. So this is A, this is corner B, corner C, corner D, and this is corner E. So now you can just see that AB is on the longer edge, and similarly, I get the point C and E on the shorter edges, and D is the midpoint of this longer edge. Correct. So here, irrespective of any position, I can select. So just for the understanding purpose, this is the shorter edge. This is the longer edge. So this reference you must know. This is the longer edge. This is the shorter edge. So now we need to understand where we are going to mark the points. Correct. So now let us go for the distance between. So first, let me start with marking the point A. So from this corner of the rectangle to the point A, it is 9.27. So remember, it is on the longer edge. That is 48.54. Similarly, in the ISO scale, this is the longer edge. Either I can choose this or this, anything, but I need to mark 9.27 to locate the point A. So now let me go for the line option again. Change the color to black. So let me start from here. It is 9.27. Just trace it on the same line. So you'll get one point here. And since it is symmetric, even point B will also be at the same distance on the longer edge. So 9.27. I've got A and B done. And opposite to A and B is D, which is the midpoint of this line. So let me just go for the midpoint. Click OK. And I'll just draw a line matching the midpoint. Let me just keep it off again. So I've got the midpoint. So this is the D. So point B is here, point A is here. So maybe if you just move the cursor, you'll get the point A. So this is the point A, point B, and point D. So now I need to see to map C and E. Okay, so I can just see that C and E are on the same straight line. So if I'm marking one point, if I draw a line parallel, I get the point opposite to that. So now let me just go back to the line option. So before that, let me measure this distance. So remember, either C or E, it is on the shorter edge. So from this corner to C, it is 28.53. So let me go to the line option on this edge. It is 23 point, okay, 28.53. Correct. So since this line was done using two halves, it is showing me the 2 points. So don't get confused. So it is 28.53. If I draw a line at an angle of 150 that is parallel to the shorter edge. So let me just repeat. So it is 23.28.53 is this point. So from this point, draw the line at an angle of 150. So it becomes parallel 48.5. So I get the point C and E here. So now let me complete the pentagon. So just go for the line option now. So let me start from the point A. So the point A is here, point B is here, point C is here, point D, point E, back to point A. So you get to see the pentagon. So now let me just change the thickness so that you get a clarity. Later on we can just change the thickness of the invisible edges. So for time being, this is the pentagon. So this is the pentagon of the bottom face of the prism. So now the same thing has to be done at a height of 60 mm. So the same center point is holding good, okay, for both pentagon and as well as the cylinder. So what I'll do is I'll go back to the line option, select point 13. The type is axis line. So I get the point of intersection. So from here I'll take the true scale of 60. So remember, it is only in the system that we are doing everything in the true scale, and at a later stage we are going to reduce the scale. In the manual construction, from this point count ISO 60, that is 6 boxes in the isometric sheet. Correct. So now I need to repeat the same procedure. So in the manual construction, what you need to do is you need to construct the rectangle again, mark the points and join the parallel edges. But in the system, I'll just select the pentagon along with the rectangle. So I require this point. So what I'll do is, before I select, let me just select this entire line and split it at this point. So I'll just ensure that I get the center point for my reference. So now let me select the rectangle along with the pentagon. So the construction calls for a huge patience, especially the pentagons and the hexagons in the isoscale, because it will not be the exact whole number and you need to consider the approximate number of boxes. We have selected the entire pentagon. Let us just go for the move option, ensure the copy is on. So this is the point of reference. I'll just place this here at the end point of the 60 mm line. Now let me go for the line option. Select a line of thickness 0.50 and the type of the line is a continuous line. So join them using the straight lines. So 0.50 is the thickness. So this completes the construction of the pentagonal prism, but however we'll just change the thickness of the invisible edges because it is a solid object. Obviously the back faces will not be seen and this edge will not be seen. Correct. So select these lines and change the thickness to 0.13. Okay, and also now this part of the arc you can just see, so that is visible to the observer. So change the thickness to 0.50. And similarly, this part of the arc, change the thickness to 0.50. And this arc you get to see here, the small portion. So select the split option, select the entire curve, and select it at this point of intersection. So you get this small piece of the arc now, whose thickness can be changed to 0.50. So with this, we complete the construction of the pentagonal prism on the top of the cylindrical slab. But remember, we are still on the true scale, not in the ISO scale. So the next step is select the entire combination, and then there is an option for scale beneath the mirror, and we do know the relation. It is 0.816, so it is rounded off to 0.82 times. Ensure the copy is off and place it on the same reference point. So now this is the isometric combination of the solids, that is a pentagonal prism is being placed on the cylindrical slab whose thickness is 25 So the basic concept here is, after we draw the circles for the cylinder using the same center point, we need to replicate the rectangle by enclosing the pentagon inside that rectangle and mark the points and mark the same points here. For example, A and B is on the longer edge, C is on the shorter edge, D is the midpoint of the longer edge. So you get these points from the true scale and measure the same in the orthographic, from the orthographic to the isometric, and mark the points and complete the pentagon. And from the same center point, measure ISO 60 and draw the rectangle again and mark the points and join them using the parallel lines. So you get a pentagonal prism. So you can just show the reference angle, which is equal to 30 degrees. So with this, we complete the uh, isometric as well as the orthographic drawing of the combination of the solids, that is a pentagonal prism placed centrally on a cylindrical slab. Thank you all for watching.